All right, everybody. Good late morning. Still Victory Monday. Still feeling pretty great. Still a very, very special day for these Seahawks. And there's a lot to talk about from last night. You could probably make a couple dozen videos just talking about the sequences and the back and forth in yesterday's game. But I want to talk about a pretty hot button topic from yesterday that I've already seen a lot of people talking about. I've seen a lot of people write articles about. I'm sure there are videos out there breaking this down, but I want to go through this from my perspective and just kind of lay out what is, as near as I can tell, the reality of the situation, because there's a lot of misinformation going on right now when talking about this, and it's very easy to get confused. And I think some of the people who are spreading misinformation might be confused themselves. Maybe some of them aren't, but let's take a look at this. Before we go any further into this video, I want to tell you guys a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Get over there. Check out the left side of your screen right now. I've got the app up. Look at all this great stuff you can get up to. Look at all the over-unders you can pick on. I've got an entry for this week. Let's take a look. I got Mike Evans over 60 yards. You know they're going to be throwing him the ball a lot. I got Keenan Allen over 36 yards. You know that he's going to want to try to cash in a little bit here against a weak Dallas defense. Jamar Chase with the anytime touchdown on Miami, and J.J. McCarthy under 189 passing yards. So get on over to Sleeper. You can put together a ticket just like this. Use the promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check it out. Put together your own ticket and have some fun with sports. Back to the video. Okay, so the 2-point conversion, right? One of the most notable plays from last night, and quite possibly, in fact, I would go so far as to say almost definitely the most important 2-point conversion in Seahawks franchise history, other than the NFC title game against Green Bay in 2014. I was at that game. I remember Wilson makes a ridiculous throw to the other Wilson, Luke Wilson, puts the Seahawks up by 3 with about a minute left. Green Bay drives down and kicks what is a game-tying field goal, and Seattle wins in overtime. If that 2-point conversion had not been converted, Green Bay wins the game in regulation with that field goal, and none of it matters. So that's the biggest one. This might be the second biggest one, though, because it may very well have won the division. We'll see. Maybe we don't know yet. But should the 2-point conversion have counted? That is what people are asking about. So we've got this tweet from Joe A. NFL. Don't know who that is, honestly, but this was one of the tweets that blew up after the game ended last night, talking about that 2-point conversion. Now, of course, there were 3 2-point conversions last night. We're talking about the second one. Sam Darnold throws a bubble screen to Zach Charbonnet, who split out wide to the left. The ball gets batted up in the air and ultimately hits the ground. I think it hit, like, was it Jared Verse or Byron Young? And the ball hits the turf, incomplete, or so it would seem. Play over, or so it would seem. Ball rolls around in the end zone. Charbonnet picks it up just because the ball is right there, and he's like, well, there's a ball. I may as well pick it up. And then the referees think about the play, and Mike Macdonald thinks about the play, and Macdonald challenges the play, and it becomes clear. And I want to say this. I firmly believe this was obvious on the replay. It was a backwards pass. I know that there are some people who are trying to say it wasn't a backwards pass. I believe that there is copious amounts of evidence that make it objectively a backwards pass. So I'm not talking about that. So backwards pass, ball bounces up, hits the ground. It's still live, right? It's still a live ball. Okay? So when Charbonnet picks it up in the end zone, he's actually recovering a fumble. And he is therefore scoring a 2-point conversion, and therefore the conversion is good, and therefore now the game is tied instead of being a 2-point lead for the Rams. So I think we all know about that. Now, what this tweet is saying is that the referee blew the play dead before Charbonnet touched the ball, which according to the replay, is true. The whistle, by rule, should have ended the play, according to Joe here. So therefore, if the play is dead by whistle from the referee, Charbonnet should not have been able to recover it. And he's suggesting that this makes the 2-point conversion illegitimate and implying that the game is now illegitimate because of it. Now, Harry McCauley, a former NFL official who does a lot of extracurricular stuff talking about NFL rules and official calls, chimed in here. And he actually set the record straight and corrected Joe on this assessment. When a backward pass is ruled forward and incomplete, replay can reverse if there is a clear recovery in the immediate continuing action. Whether a whistle is blown or not is completely irrelevant if the recovery is clear and immediate. So basically, since Charbonnet recovered it clearly and immediately after the whistle, the play is good. And that is the reason why the referees were able to overturn. So, because Charbonnet, even though he wasn't really trying to, if you watch that play, he clearly was not trying to score a 2-point conversion. He was just picking up the ball because it was there. He still gets it because the whistle, the inadvertent whistle, is immediately followed by an obvious recovery. The recovering team is awarded the ball at the spot of recovery. So, okay, makes sense, right? But last night after the game was over, and as I was thinking about stuff, and as I was looking up some stuff, something kind of occurred to me. There is a rule in the NFL. I think they refer to it as the holy roller rule because the rule spawned from the holy roller play, where if a player fumbles on 4th down or within the 2 minutes before the end of the half, a teammate cannot recover the fumble and advance the ball. And it's to prevent plays like the holy roller specifically. So basically, if it's 4th down and Ken Walker has the ball and he runs with it, and then somebody forces a fumble at the 50, you cannot have Cooper Kupp run up, recover the ball at the 50, and then run it for a touchdown. The only person who can recover the ball and advance a fumble in that situation is the player that fumbled. So only Ken Walker could recover and advance the ball. And then, as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, wait a minute here. I mean, Sam Darnold fumbled, right? He threw it, and Zach Charbonnet recovered it. And a 2-point conversion is basically like 4th down. So therefore, Charbonnet should not have been able to recover it. So at that point, I was like, oh, I think the referee screwed that up. Now, to be very clear here, I do not care. There is nothing on this earth I care about less than the Rams getting the short end of a call. Like, there is not a single thing in this universe that I care about less than that. I genuinely think I care about the research being done into putting electroshock pads into babies' diapers, which I'm sure is being done somewhere in the world. I think I care more about that than I do about whether or not the Rams got the short end of the stick on a call. You make a list of things and put it in the comments. I will tell you if you put anything in that list that I care about, then I care about more than the Rams getting the short end. You're not going to find anything. So trust me, I did not care, and neither should you. However, I was told by one person that technically the ball was not advanced, right? The ball rolled into the end zone, and Charbonnet picked it up. He didn't advance it. He just recovered it. It just happened to already be in the end zone. So then I was like, oh, does that actually make it okay? And in my head, it kind of made sense. So I was like, well, okay, I guess never mind. I guess it is a legitimate 2-point conversion. Wow. What a fortuitous set of events that would almost never, ever happen in any NFL game. As it turns out, neither point is actually relevant. So we had Football Zebras here on X lay down the law on the way in which this play was called. And here's the thing. Here's the really amusing thing about that play. It's not a fumble. And I had no idea about this. This completely threw me for a loop. Field Goals wrote an article about this last night, talking a little bit about this, but this shocked me. And I've been watching football for about 30 years. Okay, so let's look at this tweet here. This may be a statistical fumble, but the ruling in replay is a backward pass muffed forward. Therefore, it's a legal recovery. If it is a fumble, the offense cannot score the 2-point conversion, but it's not a fumble. It's a backwards pass. So a backwards pass and a fumble are different in this particular instance. This may be the only time that you ever see that rule come into place. But apparently, in this very esoteric and unlikely to happen example, a backwards pass and a fumble are different. A fumble cannot be scored on, but a backwards pass can. Never knew that. Very, very interesting. Assuming that this is true, and based on my research outside of these tweets, which I'm just using as visual aids, it is true, then that is quite a sequence of events in about a 5 or 6 second period to make one of the strangest plays you will ever see. And everything broke perfectly for the Seahawks to legally and correctly tie the game and ultimately go on to win it. So if you want to know, bottom line, was the call good? Did the referees get it right? As it turns out, the answer is yes. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming, but they're pretty fun, right? You don't see that one every day. You don't see that one every year, even every decade. Go Hawks.